Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome, my friends. My name is Vincenzo, and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. Well, Hongdian, as you know, has been just manufacturing those pens and sending them to us, and we're busting our budgets, trying to get all these pens. And now they've introduced their pocket pen lineup. And this one is the first one in that lineup, which is the Hongdian M1. We're going to take a close look at this pen, see what's coming up in terms of any other choices we have in that lineup, and does it live up to the Hongdian reputation that it's built over the last several months, or does it fall short? Stay tuned. So we're back with the pen, and here it is, the Hongdian M1. Yes, as I mentioned in my intro, it looks like Hongdian, and I believe this is the first pocket pen that they've come up with, and they've introduced with the M1 their what I believe is going to be a lineup, because immediately after, I think just a day after I ordered this, I noticed that there was an M2, and I'll show you that up on the screen in a second. This is the M1. This is the first that Hongdian has put out, and pocket pens appear to be more and more popular. And in fact, I have this year purchased quite a few, and stay tuned for that. At the end of the year or early in the new year, I'm going to publish one of these, all my 2023 annual awards. And one of the, I'm almost certain that one of those episodes will deal with pocket pens. So let's look at what the M1 has to offer. First of all, as you can see on the screen, we have three colors there. It's aluminum alloy, basically cigar shaped, and you got the kind of a light purple, light teal, and then the silver, and the silver is the one that I'm reviewing. And as I mentioned, they have also just come up with the M2. Give me a second, I'll put that up on the screen. Here it is. That's the M2. So as you can see, it's kind of a brushed aluminum, a little bit darker there, and you've got different colors with a flat top. So that's the M2, and I've ordered one, and stay tuned for the review of that one as well. It looks like it's going to be another interesting pen to add to my collection. So if we go back to the subject pen, here it is. First thing I noticed is that smiley right there. That's a nice touch. I'm not sure they copied anyone with that, but you know what? It's different, and there you have it. The next thing to notice is that, yes, it's a classic cigar shaped. It is small. It is a pocket pen, obviously meant to be small, but it's a little bit smaller than others that I have in my collection, and we'll see that in my size comparison. Next thing to notice is that how this is integrated very nicely with the cap here. You can hardly feel any transition there, which is nice, and it's typical of Hongdian. Very nice build quality. It's got that spring clip. Now, as Doug and Inquiring Minds mentioned, it would have been nice if there was a mechanism right here to kind of push on and lift. In fact, as he mentioned, that's the first thing I did is I pushed there to see if, and realized it didn't work. But that could be something they could add to their design eventually. There you have it. Okay, so that's the outside of the pen. Let's see it turns, and how many turns does it take to open up. That's one, and 1.5, I would say, to reveal this small number 5 steel fine nib. I believe it comes only in extra fine, and fine, like most of the pens these days from Hongdian, which is unfortunate. It'd be nice if they had medium, but they don't. There you have it. We'll test that. Just a regular plastic feed, as we can see. In terms of this section, it is on the thinnish side, but it's a pocket pen. The threads are fairly smooth. I mean, you can feel them. There's some edge to them, which kind of gives you a grip, but it's not at all intrusive. Can you write without Post-it? I guess if you sneak it in there, it's doable. But obviously, it's meant to be written posted, and in that regard, it posts very nicely, very comfortably, and it gives the pen the size that you need to provide a very comfortable writing experience, I think. Now, my first thought when I got this pen and touched this aluminum alloy, I said, oh my God, this is slippery. But as I've manipulated the pen, I'm starting to realize that it may not be as slippery as I originally thought. Certainly, the test will come in the writing experience. It looks like it's fine, but it's only by actually going ahead and writing with the pen that one really gets a better idea as to whether or not this material is slippery to the point where it becomes uncomfortable. I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay, but please stay tuned. So there you have the pen. Now, in terms of the filling system, it is described as having a converter filling mechanism, and it looks like it excludes cartridge for some reason. Now, is that a mistake in the description and in the specs, or is it intentional? So I'm not sure it accommodates cartridges. I really don't see why. There's enough space there. I think that's long enough to accommodate at least smaller cartridges, but maybe that's just not in the cards. I'm not sure. I don't use personally cartridges, and I have not tested it, but that's something that you may want to consider and maybe research further if that becomes an issue for you. That O-ring gives it a nice tight closure there, so that's very nice. There you have it. That's the outside of the pen. So what I suggest is that we take a look at the size comparison, then look at the measurements, and then of course do our writing sample. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with a size comparison, and the pens I've chosen for you are the Gravitas pocket pen, which I've reviewed recently, along with a series of other Ultim pens, which I invite you to take a look at that video. Very interesting. This is the Jinao Mini 82, which appears to have been forgotten, but which is a really, really nice pocket pen, I find, among my favorites. And for the price, it's just, really, really fabulous in my view. And I think it's not being given enough coverage or credit. That has also been reviewed. Here is the subject pen, the M1. This is the Opus 88, which, had it not been for that very peculiar posting of that cap that keeps swinging around loosely, it would have been my favorite mini pocket pen. The verdict is still out. I'm still using the pen. I'm still trying to write with it, getting used to it. We'll see at the end of the year in my review how it fares. Then, of course, this is the Mini Twisby 580, which is, a classic, comes in different colors, always a very, very nice writing instrument. And this is the infamous or famous Kaweco Sport in the brass, which, of course, should form part of any pocket pen collection. It's a classic. So there you have the pens capped. Here you have the pens uncapped and unposted, and as you can see, the subject pen M1 is very slender, very, very small, maybe not in length. It kind of overshadows the Mini 82, but I think all of these pens need to be looked at posted, because that's usually, most of the time they would be used posted. And we'll take a look at that next. There you have them unposted and uncapped. And here you have the pens posted. Again, the subject pen is among the smaller ones, at least in this sampling. although the 82 is even smaller. What I find interesting about the 82 is the girth of the pen. It may be short, but the girth of the pen makes it, in my view, very, very comfortable. Of course, these pens, once they're posted, they're almost like regular sized unposted or uncapped pens, uncapped and unposted pens, including the Kaweco. They're amongst the the more, I would say, the larger of pocket pens. These are in the category of mini pocket pens, because it looks like they're making a distinction. You have a pocket pen and then you have a mini pocket pen. And these two would be mini pocket pens in my view, whereas the rest would be just pocket pens. If there is such a difference, and maybe I'm just reading into some of these titles, etc., but that's my understanding anyway, and that's what I'm taking from all these pens. There you have the pens and the size comparison. So let's take a look at some measurements, and then we'll proceed to the writing sample. Okay, so we're back with the writing sample. Then the first thing, the ink that we'll be using will be this Jacques Herbin ink, Stormy Gray, part of the 1670 anniversary collection. Just a fabulous ink, like all Jacques Herbin inks are. This has a little bit of shimmer, but I find that the shimmering inks from Jacques Herbin are really perform nicely for a shimmering ink. They're not intrusive at all. They rarely affect writing and don't block the feeds, etc. I mean, it's still a shimmering ink. You still have to be careful. It may not have been the most the best choice for that number 5 fine nib, but I wanted to test it. I just wanted to see, and we'll see what gives with that Hongdian nib. Okay, so that's the ink. Well, as far as just a swatch of that ink, as you could see, let me just turn on the light here so you could get a better look. Here we go. There it is, Stormy Gray, Jacques Herbin 1670. As you can see, it's kind of a grayish black ink, but with all a very nice gold shimmer. So that's the ink. As far as the journal or the paper that I'll be using, it's this writing pad from Yamamoto paper, very nice, lots of pages, Sanson Tomo River, not the original, the Sanson one, but still very, very nice. It's got this little grid because it is a plain paper grid that I could use. I like always to get some of those lines to assist me in my writing. Let's just close up here, open up the pen and see what gives. Okay, so let's do this. So this is I can tell you right away, I sense a little slip there, a little slippery, but let's keep going. Hongdian. M1, pocket pen, as far as the nib is concerned, it's an Hongdian. Steel, number 5. And you can see it's very scratchy. Fine. The ink that I'm using today is the Jacques Herbin 1670 Stormy Gray. I'm having a hard time making this nib right through the paper. Extremely scratchy, very disappointing. I can't go on with this writing sample unless I do something about it. So I'm going to pause for a few seconds and I'll be right back. We're going to treat this nib and see if it performs any better after I've played with it. Okay, I had to really work that nib. As you can see in the chart, that brown and green are the roughest, if you will, of this micro mesh. And, you know, it was pulling away the micro mesh. It was so scratchy and didn't perform well at all. And I really needed to give it a nice go here. Then I gave it a go there as well, and then finished off with a much finer one at the end. I also had to use this shim, the 3 measurement, the 0.03. When I put it into the nib, it kind of went into the slot and it just popped out, and all the ink splurted everywhere, as you can see on my hands. And even here, you can see all the droplets. In other words, there was ink that was actually stuck in the tines. It wasn't going through. So there you have it. Now, we'll see whether or not I've tested it slightly, and there was a major improvement. But I think you'll be able to see it quite well. We will kind of redo this. So this is the nib after fine-tuning. Now, it's still not perfect, but as you can see, at least it's laying down a lot more ink now. So it is wetter, but it's not perfect. Okay, you can see I'm having, because I have a hand tremor, I'm having a hard time keeping it in place because it's just resisting. With this paper, it's resisting. So if I get any paper with a little bit of tooth, forget it. But at least it's now giving me pencil feedback as opposed to major resistance, if you will. It is wet, but it's now, as you could see, it does, that feed is now working much better. I still got to give it a better smoothening. I think did it perhaps too quickly, so it still has some work, but it's at least functional now. So there you have it. So the original nib, I would say, was dry, scratchy, and 2 on 10. That's my verdict. It's now much better, but that's the way it came out of the box. Now, likes and dislikes, well, you can predict what my dislike is going to be, because that's the first thing on my is this nib. Hongdian, this was a mess. Complete mess. So on those rare occasions, even Hongdian looks like they're human. The likes is it's a little bit too small, I find. It is a little slippery, in my opinion. It's so small that when you grip it, I find that I have to grip it higher up in order to be functional. The likes, I like the design. Apart from it being too small, the rest of the design is fine. In terms of build quality, I mean, the build quality is there. It's an Hongdian build quality. I have no qualms about that, okay? As far as value is concerned, well, I don't know if you noticed the price, but it was, let me just go back. It's about $34 Canadian. 34 Canadian. I think it's overpriced, in my view. I think it's overpriced. Is this a go-to pen? Absolutely not. Okay, so I'm a little disappointed, frankly. I think that we could have gotten, should have gotten more from Hongdian. So I can't give it a thumbs up. There you have it. I don't know if that M2 is going to be any different. We'll order it and take a look. It's probably just as expensive. It doesn't look like it's going to give me anything more than just a flat top version of this one. And the verdict's still out. Maybe I won't order it. And let me just see what others think. Maybe others will review that M2 and I'll make up my mind. But I got to tell you, I think this is not going to be on my priority list in terms of usage. And I think you may want to consider, think about it twice before you order it. My view, it hasn't passed the test. That's my view, and I'm sticking to it. So thank you very much, folks. Grazie molto a tutti. Be good. Enjoy yourselves. Christmas is coming up soon. Enjoy your shopping. Enjoy your family. Be careful. I'm a little bit under the weather. I thought I caught COVID again, but it looks like it was just a cold. But you know what, folks? It's time when, Christmas parties, gatherings. Let's just be careful. Let's make sure that we don't live that nightmare that we lived several years ago. Stay tuned, folks. Please subscribe, comment, thumbs up if you find this video helpful in any way. And we will see you all soon. Grazie.